Hello, it's Veronica here, and I just want to make a quick video giving advice if you're, especially if you're starting out on Genshin, on like who to pull for and figuring out who you want to main. So maining a character is using a specific character in the game and then basing your team comps around them because they're like probably your strongest character or something like that. This decision on who you want to main and who you feel comfortable using will change your account and affect who you pull. So my rule with pulling 5 stars in this is, and that is my UID if you, in case anyone wants to like add me or whatever. But yeah. So you get like a lot of so there's two types of fates in this. You have intertwined and acquaint fates. Intertwined fates are used on limited banners. Acquaint fates are used on the standard banner. So standard banner is much more randomized. You can pull like and you have a chance to pull like standard banner 5 stars, standard banner weapons, and basically any 4-star in the game. So it's much more random. And the beginner's banner also functions similarly to this, except on beginner's banner you have Noelle and a few 4 stars like guaranteed. So there's that. Then there's a weapon banner, which you can, as per its name, pull weapons from. So there are limited weapons that you need to get like lucky to pull from here. Most people don't really go for the weapon banner as much, especially any 5-star weapons on here, unless you really like a character. So if you really like a character and their playstyle and you want to make them as strong as possible, it's fine to pull on the weapon banner. Or if you know that a 5-star or 4-star weapon is gonna benefit a certain character, that is often the motivation to pull on this. And then limited character banners. So we all know the 5.1 update is gonna be happening soon, and Shylonen's banner is coming to the game. So I will personally be skipping Shalonen. Because I spent so much on like Raiden's banner and pulling her weapon. Because I admit, I really like Raiden. She's really beautiful and her playstyle is very fun. She's really great at electro application. She's very strong. If you're like around for like the end of this banner or any Raiden rerun banners, I definitely recommend picking up Raiden, picking up constellations for her even, if you want. And then there's also Kanish, which from what I've seen, he is pretty strong. But I skipped him obviously because yeah, I do not need this guy. But like if you want, but with characters, you need to decide who you feel comfortable using. And you really need to look at their playstyle and their character. Many people will pull for 5 stars because they like their design or they like their character. Or they tend to be very lucky with a weapon type even. If we're talking about weapon type luck, there's one type of weapon I get insanely lucky with. Yeah. a lot of my characters that I use are catalyst users because I get really, really lucky with this weapon type nearly every time, except for Kokomi. I lost two 50/50s on two of her banners, and I just want one Kokomi at some point. I just want one copy of her, and that's it. So I have like a healer and Hydro Applicator at some point. That's really, really good. But I play as her Baiju's good for that, and whenever playing him, I generally really liked his healing, so he may become like a main healer on the account. And she and her and Jean are also pretty good, so. But when you're pulling on banners, it could get addictive. And you can get Primogems many ways in this. Even as a free-to-play player, like doing Archon quests, doing events, doing character story quests. And doing your daily commissions every day. So eventually start racking up these Primogems. And also from opening chests, obviously. So when you start getting those Primogems, save them for characters that you like. Or if you're gonna pull for... If you don't know whether you want to pull for a character or not, and they have their test run available, try it out. See if you like their playstyle. And if you like it, then go ahead, pull for them. If you don't like their playstyle, or if you don't like their character, then just don't pull for them. When you have limited funds in a gacha game, it's perfectly okay to be picky. Including with leveling up characters. Like, notice I don't have every one of my characters level 90 yet. And I do have some of them at like level 80, but not quite at 90. It's because, well, you need to prioritize the funds you have in this to the characters that you like the most, and the characters on your teams that complement those characters and add to team comps with them. A main team in this should be built around your main character that you want to use and other characters to support them, quite simply. This is one I like to use for exploring sometimes. I know it doesn't deal most damage, but it's fun. And I love my Catalyst users, so there's that. This is one that I set up for mining specifically, because like I've had to mine like a lot of stuff just to get more weapon ascension things for Raiden's weapon, which I got, and I feel so happy to have it. There's my Aggravate team that I have right now. They are performing very well, and I am surprised by how good this team is. Or you could replace... And this team is versatile. Like, you could have it with Raiden and Yai, or you could have it with Raiden and Fischl, or you could have it with, like, Yai Miko and Fischl even, and it will work really well. Then, of course, Nahida and Baiju are both good at Dendro application. Then there's an Overload team I'm kind of working on. I want to figure out how this one's, like, going to work and all that. But, yeah. And Yanfei is my favorite Pyro character in this. I love her playstyle. I love how she just uses that charge attack and everything goes boom. It's amazing. But yeah. And normally when going with a team comp, especially when it wants to be a good team comp, you want like a DPS or a sub DPS to kind of function as that main damage dealer. They will often need a healer as well. So the way I set up my teams for most part is main damage dealer, DPS character, sub DPSs to benefit the main damage dealer and their reactions, and then a healer or a support to support everyone else. I feel like it works out pretty well, so it's like, yeah.
I stand before it, alone and unchanged.
But yeah, that's what I recommend for like team comps. And you could do it with whatever characters you have. Especially if you have like a lot of characters and you want to figure out who works well together. Normally I play who I like the most. And sometimes I like, and it's really cool whenever characters work well together or are extremely compatible with one another. To the point where their performance is truly something impressive. And with picking weapons for your characters and artifacts, there are many guides for what stats you want on these and what weapons are good on the character. So for example, Raiden's best set of artifacts is easily Emblem of Severed Fate. This is easily her best set. And you wanted to, and it has, and I was lucky enough to get one with good stats as well, so that's cool. And then for weapons, I was lucky enough to get Engulfing Lightning for her, which I'm working on leveling up because I love this weapon on her. It's very good. It's very strong. Really benefits her energy recharge and her damage more than the previous weapon I had on her. So, like, with picking a weapon for your characters, like, whether you get the weapon from the gacha or you make them at the blacksmiths in the game, if it's a craftable weapon, you need to make sure the weapon is compatible with the character. Like, it has to be the same weapon type as them, and the abilities of the weapon have to benefit the character in some way. Even though early game, I know your options are more limited, so you have to often go with, like, whatever you have that is best on them. But a character's best in slot weapon is normally their signature weapon. Or for official elemental mastery builds, you want the Stringless every time. So Fischl was my original main before I got Yaimiko. So Yaimiko was my first limited 5-star. I got her on her first banner. And I also have her was lucky enough to get her signature weapon, so I started maining her. And how she became a main over Fischl, it's because I always liked using Yai. I like her playstyle. I like how she can drop those electro totems and they deal that constant electro damage for reaction teams, and she's really, really good for that. If you ever catch Yai on a rerun, pick her up. She is phenomenal, and I am proud to call her one of my mains alongside Raiden. She's strong, she's amazing, and she's better than people give her credit for. And Raiden, she is probably the best electro unit in the game. So, if you want her and you catch any of her banners, pick her up. And she's also voiced by Anyatko, Veronica's voice actress. So, if you want something else you could hear Veronica's voice in, definitely get Raiden. She's perfection. And also, any of the Archons are good units. If you like any of the Archons in this, get them. So right now, there are 5 playable Archons in the game. And going in order of all the regions, for Mondstadt, you have Fenty. For Liyue, you have Zhongli. For Inazuma, you have Raiden. For Sumeru, you have Nahida. And for Fontaine, you have Farina. Their playstyles are all very unique. Some of them function as are better at playing DPS roles better than others are. A lot of them are great at like sub DPS roles or like support type roles at times. But yeah, the Archons are always good if you don't know who to pull for in the game. I highly recommend it if you like don't feel certain about that. And it's also okay to pull for a character if you really love their playstyle or their design. Like, if you just, or even their lore. Like, you can like a character for multiple reasons, and that's okay. It's okay to pull for a character that you like. Or it's okay to pull for a character if you know that they are going to benefit your team comps in a good way. But yeah, be careful with those intertwined fates. Save them up for the characters who are your favorites and who will benefit your team comps the most. Especially the 5 stars. As for 4 stars, it's also okay to pull for like 4 stars on Unlimited Banner as well if you really like them. Like, I loved Fischl so much that I had this 2C6 her because she's that amazing. Seriously, my Fischl is just weirdly broken at times. She's really good. And also, Genshin is a long game. If you start this game, it's going to take a lot of time to beat it and beat all the quests and stuff. And yeah. And also, don't forget that. So if you just do what you're supposed to do in this, you'll be fine. Even though the difficulty jump from Liyue to Inazuma can feel like a bit much at times when that point happens during the Archon quest, but if you know what you're doing and you, or even like just co-oping with people and hanging out in each other's worlds can be really fun. Like sometimes I myself will go into other people's worlds and help them out if they want me to, and yeah. But whether you're like free to play or you're willing to spend a little money on the game, prioritize your favorites. Don't just avoid a character just because someone says they're bad or they're not very good. If you like a character, use them. Build a team around them. Because that is the thing with this game. That's why the fighting aspect of this is so fun. Because it's really fun to just collect characters and figure out who works together, who doesn't, and who is the strongest with one another. So goodbye, mysterious audience. I love you, and we appreciate you watching the the channel, and I just wanted to like talk about what I recommend if you're gonna like play Genshin and how you should decide if you should pull on a banner or not.